Hi ghouls, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Natalie Megan and this is Weirdo Book Club. So I thought I would tell you a little bit about each book that I read in July. So I read 9 books in total for the month of July. Feel free to screenshot. I'm really excited about that because I've been kind of spacing on my reading lately. A lot of the really horrible books that I'm reading have been all-consuming in a way that has made me pull back from reading enjoyable content, which is sad because it's supposed to be fun. I'm not having any fun. But I feel like July went better than I thought it would. My goal is to read 100 books this year. I've already made it to 51, a little slower than I'm used to. But we're moving forward. Steady wins the race, right? The first book that I finished in July was To Be Devoured by Sarah Tandlinger. It's a sapphic horror novella where we follow our female main character on a slow descent into madness. Love it. Love it. This was pretty gruesome. Lots of bird imagery and animal gore, but with a really intriguing story running through it. So it felt like it was leading me somewhere as opposed to a lot of the senseless stuff that I read. There's no point to it except to just be upsetting. There was a reason for this. It's so nice to remember that sometimes people do put thought into what they're writing. I'm getting off the subject. I really enjoyed this. I got the rec from Rachel. You might know her. She mentioned it on one of her panels at BookNet Fest, and when I told her I was going to read it, she was sure that I would love it, and I did. 4 stars. Next up, we have Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood. Now, I got to enjoy this on audiobook, courtesy of Libro FM's ALC program. Thank you so much. I initially reached for it because I was hoping to find some reprieve from the grim, dreadful reads that are currently consuming me. Hunting Adeline. It was a bad move, and a move that I just keep making. This is a mistake that I do not learn from. I don't think I like Allie Hazelwood books. I'm working on like a Allie Hazelwood review in full of all the titles that I've read by her. I think I've read 4 so far. And this had the exact same formula that a lot of her other books have. Okay, so there's a not like other girls woman in STEM who is said to be smart, though I've never seen any evidence of such a thing, falls for a nerdy man in a similar field or position, and they make things way harder than they need to be and give us nothing as far as spice is concerned. Honestly, if I took the cover down, you wouldn't know which book I was talking about. 2 stars. So next up, we have Willing Victim by Kara McKenna. And this is not my first Kara McKenna romance, nor is it the first one to make me recoil in uncomfortable confusion. This is the first one that I'm reading for my Dark Romance Diary series. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I put all of the dark romance titles that I've gotten recommended to me over some odd months or whatever into a wheel, and I spin the wheel and I get my next read, and then I talk about it. Because not every book that I read in the dark romance genre is worth a 3-hour review. Like, there's not that much to them. I am blogging them as I read them over on my Bindery page, if that interests you. And then hopefully when I get to like 5 of them completed, I will just do a video. So Willing Victim, it follows a waitress with an unused engineering degree. I don't know what she's on about. Something with trauma. I don't know. It was all very quick, so nothing really stuck with me. She meets a man. By day, he's a construction worker, and by night, he's a fighter at an underground boxing ring who has some darker sexual proclivities. They enter into a BDSM relationship together. And she's new to it. He's knowledgeable. And while I do think that that was kind of done pretty well, especially comparatively to everything else I read, communication, consent, he explained the terms, there was a safe word, all of that. This book was really short. Everything was real rushed, or it felt like that to me. And even though I do think there was some things they did right, there was just some other stuff that they did wrong, and it was a little weird. You'll find out more. I'll go into more detail in the Dark Romance Diary series, but for now, just know I gave it 2 stars. Next up, we chose The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim for our July read, our main July read for Weirdo Book Club, the book club. I don't know if you knew we have a book club. We do. It was a young Korean American girl is traversing a broken home, college, her social life, and her mom's weird new boyfriend while slowly unraveling as her dreams about eyeballs become more lucid and graphic and concerning. I was concerned the whole time and a little angry, to be honest. It was weird and not always in a good way. It was pretty gross, but the plot it felt very much like a convenient hodgepodge, like they just popped things in at random to make it make sense more. Like, I feel like it could have benefited from some tightening up and some editing. Plus, none of the characters or their struggles were endearing or likable in anyway, which I don't have to like characters in order to have a good time in my books. I think Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman is a great example of that. Hated every one of those bitches in that book. Ugh, but it was still really fun. Not so much with the eyes. Didn't love that. The gore was well written and really grimy. Made me very upset a couple of times. And I do think that this was well written, especially for a debut novel. So I definitely give Monica Kim another shot. But this one was just meh for me. So 3 stars. Hello from the void. Right after I wrapped filming this video, of course, my Evernight subscription box came with my Evernight exclusive copy of The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. And I didn't get to use it for the initial video, so I just wanted to pop it in here because it's actually pretty cool. So I love the glossy detail of the blood here. Obviously, the disgusting, and if you've read it, you know the spine, the back, and then there's in blood spatter red pages. I love. I've never done a box subscription before, a book box subscription. Look at. So in the book, she's having these really visceral dreams about eyeballs. And so I can only imagine that this is a snap right out of one of her nightmares. So glad she took me along for that. I needed that. Yeah, for sure. And then on the inside, this gorgeous art in the front. Ugh. Back. Ji-won, put the eyeball down. I swear. Okay. Like that's the least of her problems, I think. I fear. I just wanted to show it to you because it got here right after I finished editing the first run through of this. So I guess we're splicing this in somewhere. Enjoy the rest of the video. Next up, I have a copy of this one, so I get to hold it up. Ah, she's so professional. Lady Killers by Tori Telfer. This was our alternate read for Weirdo Book Club in July. This is a nonfiction true crime about several female serial killers throughout history. I really liked this book. Even the folks who generally don't like nonfiction, they enjoyed this book. It had a very unique voice. It was very detailed and interesting to hear about these women and their life and their crimes. And it didn't feel exploitive to the victims or like the author was trying to sensationalize these serial killers in any way. It was a really nice balance and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. Next, I grabbed Amelia by A.W. Reen. I think that's how you say it. This was a random book that I found while just perusing Amazon. It is an expository, It's an epistolary style horror novella featuring letters written from a mother to a child, and the letters grow more and more unsettling the more you read. I love epistolary style. Recount that shit to me. I love epistolary styles. There's lots of bug imagery in this, obviously. I mean, you could probably guess that. And there was gore here too. It felt very similar to To Be Devoured by Sarah Tantlinger in this way, and I thought it was pretty good, so 3.5 stars. Stories I Told My Dead Lover by Joe Paquette, another ALC from the Libro FM program. Didn't love this one either. I just think that I don't love short story collections. There's always like 1, maybe 2 stories in the collection where I'm like, I really wish you would have just taken this and dove deeper as opposed to writing a bunch of other stories that I don't care about. And this was no exception. Same thing. In the summary of this book too, the phrase psychological horror was used, and I didn't really get that at all from these stories. So 2 stars. Next, this is another book that the Wheel did to me. The Dark Romance Wheel gave me. Queen Takes Knights by Jolie Sue Burkhart. Now, this is a Why Choose vampire dark romance. And it was... It was a pretty good time. You know how I feel about vampires. If you've been here for a while, you know I will give a lot of leeway to stories about vampires. I'm like, sure, I don't even see those typos. How can I see the typos with all the blood everywhere? But I had a good time. I liked the female main character. I also liked both of the male main characters, which is very rare. And I liked that they loved each other and didn't just start doing it with each other because she showed up. They had an established relationship beforehand. Love that. Lots of blood, lots of sex. But there was also, hold my hand, a plot. Oh, I know. Ha! It wasn't perfect. There were some typos and some odd choices when it came to phrasing of certain things. But overall, I had a good time with it. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And I think I am interested enough to continue the series. The plot was interesting to me. And it was, 4 stars. Shut up. Don't. Last and not least, because I think I rated Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood the lowest this month. Truth or Kill by A.C. Kramer. This was another Wheel result. It's a dark romance novel with a sinister game at the center. A group of rich kids and one not so rich kid, aka our female main character, find themselves players in a deadly game. But the female main character passes a lot of time in this isolated setting in the middle of the woods in a palatial style lodge by banging the man that works at the front desk. He's super hot. Gets pretty spicy, very dark, and it's inspired by the urban legend of the game Kill Switch, which I was not familiar with this legend. It's apparently a game that once you die, the game disappears, and it's almost like no one ever played it before. I don't know. You can look it up. But when I looked it up, I found that it was inspired by a short story collection by Catherine M. Valente. And if that name sounds familiar to you the way it did to me, Catherine M. Valente wrote one of my other favorite novellas, Comfort Me with Apples. It's all connected. Anyway, this book was written inspired by the Kill Switch urban legend, hence the deadly game thing. It was fine. It was intriguing, like the game aspect of it all. It felt, again, like playing a video game. It felt like Until Dawn, The Quarry, things like that. Life is Strange. And so I liked that, and it was kind of fun to read The Spice. It wasn't great, but The Spice was pretty fun. I had a moderately enjoyable time, but I still felt like the book was meh. Let me just say, the main male character's name is Cage with a K. So I think that tells you more than my words ever could. 2.5. So there they are, all of my July reads. Have you read any of these? If you had, did you rate similar to me? Did you rate different? Did you feel strongly about something that I was meh about? Tell me everything in the comments, please. I would love to chat about it with you. People ask me sometimes, not as much as they ask Rachel or other people on this app, do you even like reading? What books do you like? Some of these I liked, okay? There's a 5-star book in here. Yeah, I don't hate everything. Just most things. If you like this video, please like and comment and engage with it so that it can boost it in the algorithm. You got to work with those robots instead of against them. And share it with a weirdo in your life. Maybe they'll like my content too. Who knows? If you liked this style of video too, I have a lot more things like this on my Bindery page, Boneyard Picnic. There's a tier that gets bonus vlogs and extra videos and stuff. So if you like this kind of stuff and you want to support my work, that's a great place to do it. Again, thanks for watching. Tell me how many books you read this month. Which one was your favorite? Just tell me all the things, okay? Let's chat about books down in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Love you. You don't have to say it back.